Good afternoon. Welcome to Lunch and Learn. I am Kathy Lindenbaum, President of the New Jersey PTA. I have with me today Rosa Chera, immediate past President of the New Jersey PTA, Cynthia Rice, Advocates for Children of New Jersey, and Beth Gardner, the National Institute for Early Education Research. This webinar is a partnership between the three associations who have been collaborating for many years to bring quality, fully funded preschool to all 3 and 4-year-olds in New Jersey. It is known that children who attend a quality preschool are less likely to be identified with special needs. A quality preschool program also positively affects literacy and math skills. And of course, we can't forget social and emotional skills and playtime too. Our hope is you will get so excited after this webinar that you will become an advocate for fully funded universal preschool in New Jersey. Now I would like to introduce Tanya Costan, Deputy Assistant Commissioner for Early Childhood Education at the New Jersey Department of Education.
Good afternoon, everyone. As she said, my name is Tanya Costan. I am the Deputy Assistant Commissioner for the Division of Early Childhood. I have served at the department for about 25 years. I have spent 20 of those years building New Jersey's preschool program and being a part of the efforts to not only improve quality, but to expand preschool programs across the state. We are very excited to find in the governor's budget once again money for preschool expansion. We would hope that many of you will go out to your communities and encourage them to apply, because this is a voluntary program, so no districts are required to do it. So we will ask that you go out, talk to your school board, your superintendents, and ensuring that they do come and take advantage of the opportunity that is before them. We're going on the third, is it the third year? Yeah, the third year with this current governor to expanding preschool. Some of the hallmarks of our program is the low class size, which is very important. So we have 15 kids to a teacher and a teacher assistant. We give supports around curriculum and instruction, coaches for both teachers in the classroom, as well as working with children with challenging behaviors. It's also an opportunity really to increase inclusion. That is such an important time for young children to be together, because they learn about their peers. They have role models in each other. And this is a time when children are most alike. So we believe including children with IEPs is a great opportunity, just not for the gen ed population, but for those students who have IEPs. It's a great opportunity for also them to learn about each other and learn how to be helpful to one another and just have a real empathy for people who are different from themselves. So those are the other things that we look at within this program is for inclusion. It's a great opportunity for children to really build their foundation and for parents to be vested in their children's education at such an early age. And in our early learning, in that birth to 5 spaces, when parents tend to be most active in their education. And we have lots of resources to teach parents about being that advocate for their child, because you as parents are the first teacher. You know your child well. You know all the unique things about your child. You know what they do well. You know what they're struggling with. You know the things you'd like to see or you have questions about maybe they should or shouldn't be doing at this point in their life. So you are a great resource to the teacher and the teacher assistant that will be working with your child each and every day. It's a great opportunity to bring preschool as we continue to build that foundation and to build it early. We look at this as an opportunity for children really to come to school with all of their foundation squarely intact. Because one of the reasons many people don't always know is when we started this program almost 20 years ago in our former Abbott, the research had showed our children who were considered at risk were almost 2 years behind their other peers. That's one of the reasons New Jersey started a program for 3 and 4-year-olds, not just a 4-year-old program. It was very important for us to build a program that was really going to give the children what they needed to be successful when they arrived to school, when they arrived to kindergarten, not to school, but to kindergarten. And so this has been a great opportunity for children to ensure that we close that achievement gap, that we give children all the necessary tools that they need to be successful, and that to take that success throughout their lifetime, not just their education in the K-12 system, but beyond. All the research shows that there are positive attributes for those children who go to high quality preschool programs long into their adult lifehood. So with that, I'll take questions or we'll go on to the next speaker. And I'm sorry for joining a little late. I do have my own children at home who are fully remote, and they do a whole lot of walking around, which I'm sure if they were really in school would not be happening. That and eating a whole lot of snacks.
Everyone, and welcome today. I wanted to just share with you that PTA has long been an advocate of early childhood education, and it's for this reason that we were excited at the opportunity to partner with Advocates for Children in New Jersey and the National Institute for Early Education Research, and to become part of this important initiative. The PTA mission is to make every child's potential reality by engaging and empowering families and communities to advocate for all children. We wanted to make sure that this included our children prior to kindergarten in the public schools. As we began our advocacy work around preschool expansion in New Jersey, we looked into the history of preschool. And we found that that Head Start was the first publicly funded preschool program that began in 1965 during the administration of President Johnson. And this program was for low-income families. Around the 1980s, a group of parents who didn't qualify for Head Start wanted a program for their children. In the 1980s, women began careers. Homes started to depend more and more on dual incomes. And if children were going to be in daycare, they also wanted an opportunity to include a learning opportunity as part of this program. Then in 2008, we found that 38 states and District of Columbia hadn't invested in some kind of program, either locally or federally funded. So again, this in 2017, when this program started, we were excited to be part of it and to start our advocacy work around it because of its importance. So what today we want parents to know about this, for the parents that have joined us today, that New Jersey PTA found, and we want to get the word out, is that not every district is eligible to apply for this funding. But during this webinar, we will tell you how you could still advocate for preschool. Eligible districts must apply for the funding, and we'll go through what that does entail and how you as a parent can help your school district. Not every eligible district has applied for funding where it is available. So again, that parent voice is so important that you kind of push your school district to apply for that funding. Most districts that receive funding have yet to offer the program for all of their 3 and 4-year-olds. Again, I talked about our advocacy work, and we talk about public school education, and we always started the K-12. And again, this was an opportunity for PTA to also help the parents of 3 and 4-year-olds. Programs can be provided in public preschool, childcare, and a Head Start classroom. So sometimes schools say, oh, we just don't have the room. Well, there are other opportunities. And we want parents to also know that districts are encouraged, but not required, to collaborate with childcare and Head Start programs to make this program more readily available in your school district.
So I know that Rose talked about this, but I wanted to make sure that everyone knew. And first of all, thank you everyone for participating. We're so excited to have parents involved as being to be engaged in in what preschool expansion can look like, not only in our state, but in individual communities. And I want to make sure that you understand, we've been in the preschool business, our state, for more than 20 years. And we've been doing it. We're a national model, how to deliver not only a high quality program for 3 and 4-year-olds, but to engage the community at both childcare and Head Start programs. The quality is the same, but classrooms are located not just in the public schools, but throughout. The goal is to get as many 3 and 4-year-olds in the program as possible. And that's stayed the same. So it started with 31 of our poorest districts. And over the last 4 years, one during the Christie administration and the last 3 under Governor Murphy, we've been expanding that number. And why? Because we know that high quality preschool makes the difference for young children, not only just for those years, but for their future as being educated and overall being having better skills in both learning and social emotional. So as we heard, this is the interesting thing is this is in our school funding formula. Preschool is in our school funding formula, but because it's not completely funded, districts have to apply for it. Now, if it had been completely funded, every eligible district would get the money and be required to provide high quality preschool for 3 and 4-year-olds. So not every, and as we heard Tanya, and we also heard Rose say, you've got to apply. Now, some districts have done that. We have more than 100 that have done this over the last 3 or 4 years. But there are other districts that have not done that yet, even though we know that providing this for 3 and 4-year-olds is a positive thing for not only the children, but their learning experiences as well as for the community. And most districts that have received the funding, guess what? They're not meeting all of their 3 and 4-year-olds. So a portion of their 3 and 4-year-olds are benefiting while others aren't. And as I said, this is a national model, how we deliver this level of education in our public schools, in our child care programs, and our Head Start. It's a national model because let's face it, our schools only have so much room. The goal, though, is to make sure that young children have access to this program. And so we're asked for 3 and 4-year-olds to think very differently about how we deliver this. So this is a really positive thing. And in fact, many states throughout our nation have followed what New Jersey did more than 20 years ago. And I said, however, they're just encouraged to work with Head Start and childcare. They're not required. Okay, so can we go on to the next one? A little bit of 411. So what do we know? Well, you know what? Our school funding formula, it's a big read. It's a little complicated, and many of our administrators in our schools may not understand that preschool expansion is even included in the school funding formula. And what we've seen in the past is that many of the districts that have expanded, they've only defined their preschool programs as, well, this is the number of classrooms I have in my buildings to do. So if you have, 3 available classrooms, that would only be, as Tanya said, 15 children in a class. That would only be for 45 pretty lucky kids. But that doesn't mean it's meeting the whole universe of kids. And most districts, as we said, don't have the facilities, and many districts really are not knowledgeable about what exists in their community to make sure, again, getting to that goal of getting as many kids in the program as possible, what's available in the community to make sure that those kids have access to high quality. Next slide, please. So I'm going to introduce my colleague, Beth Gardner from the National Institute of Early Education Research to say, so what does this look like?
Thank you, Cynthia. Thanks, everybody, for joining us today. I'm going to apologize for some background construction noise you might hear. But anyway, Zoom life is as it is these days. I'm really happy to be here with you. And as Cynthia mentioned, New Jersey has a long history of providing high quality preschool programs throughout the state. And regardless of whether classrooms are housed in school district buildings, private provider program, or Head Start programs, all the required high quality elements are the same. So here's a list of the primary high quality elements that all preschool expansion districts are required to incorporate into their program. They're required to have a full 6-hour school day. And essentially preschoolers are on the same calendar and day schedule as the same number of hours, at least, as the K-12 program. There's a minimum number of a minimum size of required classroom square footage with accessible bathrooms available for the children. As Tanya mentioned earlier, the maximum is 15 children with 1 teacher and assistant in each classroom. And teachers are required to be certified. So every teacher should have early childhood certification, which is a P3 certification in New Jersey. All participating districts are required to use a state-approved curriculum. There are 4 options for state-approved curriculum, but they are all research-based and approved by the Department of Ed. Districts are required to provide professional development and have coaches in place to support teachers in the implementation of the program. And all districts are required to have an early childhood advisory council to help loop in parents and community members into the running of the program and help sort of guide the program and within its own community. Next slide, please, Catherine. Where are we now? As Cynthia mentioned, over 100. We right now, the state is funding 143 school districts, which seems like a lot, but it's 143 out of about 600 school districts. So we're really just touching on serving the number of preschoolers that are in the state. Not all of the 3- and 4-year-olds that live in those districts and would be eligible for the program are enrolled. There are currently nearly 100 districts that have been eligible for funding in previous years, but have not taken advantage of the funding or applied for funding. So that's why we're looking for your advocacy now. Next slide, please. I saw that someone in the chat had asked, we have a list. This is I'm going to say, just to be clear, this is a tentative list, not a finalized list of districts that we anticipate will be eligible for this round of funding that's coming in the next couple of weeks. And I'll ask Catherine to we'll look through each county by county and you'll see districts listed. And I'm going to say that if your district is not listed, then we're going to still talk to you about what to do if your district is not one of the eligible districts and what to do if your district is one of the eligible districts. And if you miss your county going by and you're not sure if you saw your district, you can certainly reach out to us. You can even put it right into the Q&A about whether your district is on this tentative list of eligible districts. So going through, you see there's a wide variety of districts, all shapes and sizes from around the state, all regions of the state, that are tentatively eligible to apply in this next round of funding. I'm going to pass it off to Rose, I believe, or Kathy. There you go, Kathy.
It's me. Hi. Thank you. Advocacy is very important in this, and we are all here to assist you. If you need any help, even if you don't have a PTA in your area, please, by all means, reach out to New Jersey PTA. You can just email New Jersey PTA at New Jersey PTA, and we can help you. So what are things that you can help to get preschool programs in your community? Write a letter. So who do you write the letters to? Well, you can write a letter to your superintendent. You can write a letter to your legislators. Write letters to other parents to get them excited about getting preschool in your program. Call your superintendent. You know what? And if your superintendent, if you think that they're overwhelmed with a lot of stuff right now that's going on, see if there's an assistant superintendent in that district or another administrator in central administration that might listen to you, that, maybe has small children themselves or that other people have reached out to. There are different people that are interested in different things. And I think that sometimes you have to know who those key communicators are, and you can go to them and then they can get you in maybe for a meeting with the superintendent. Attend your school board meetings. This is not only important for preschool, but for all advocacy issues. You need to know what's going on, what they're thinking. Get up at the podium if they have, open mic for something that's not on the agenda, and talk about it. Talk about how important preschool is for you, for your community. Join a community group. You can have a community group that's already in existence, that is there for education, a PTA, another parent group, or just, a group of people that get together in your community for different issues. And if there's not one that's interested, start one. It's not very hard, to get a group of people together who all have the same interests and talk about things you can do. Preschool for the community is very good. It brings young families into your community. It definitely, especially if you're in a Title I community, or community that, has some socioeconomic disadvantaged families in there, it helps them. It's very helpful. We all know that, quality preschool is very expensive. And, if you can get a quality preschool for 3 and 4-year-olds in your school district, it just helps with social emotional helps. It helps their literacy skills, their math skills. Get your friends involved, get them involved, even if they don't have small children anymore, or get people involved who you think will have small children. Get grandparents involved. Look for foster parents. Look for people who have the same common interests, who are passionate about students, passionate about education. Get them together, on this issue, and, start talking. Again, go to your school board meetings, contact your local legislators, go to your council meetings in your district, go to a council meeting and tell them, this is why we think preschool is, good for our community. And maybe you might find an advocate on that council, or maybe your mayor might become a preschool advocate, and then talk to your school board members and talk to your superintendent. Your local legislators, your assembly, your state senators, even, go to your Congress office, meet with them and tell them, how important this is to you, how important it is to your community. And, get people motivated. And again, if you need any help, we are here to help you.
Great. So I'm gonna take over, and I'm just gonna talk for a few more minutes what else can be done, what has to be done, and then how we're gonna work the Q&A is we have a couple of questions. If you have questions, those that are on the webinar, please type them in, and then I'll read them out and we will answer them. So one of the things that I wanted to mention is right now, for those of you who saw your district on the list, it was probably there last year, and for some reason, your district decided not to apply for the funding. So what we want to do is make sure that as many districts as possible will apply, and that means parents saying, this is what we want for our community. So your voice this year, more than ever, in light of everything is going on, is to apply. The money is there. We want to spend every dollar for our 3 and 4-year-olds. But this is a tough time. Let's face it. There's a lot going on in school districts. There's a lot going on, let's face it, in all of our lives. But we don't want to miss this opportunity. And that's why you being an advocate for this is key. So when we're talking about what are some emergency steps, this list of districts, and most of them were on the list last year, so we assume that they're going to be pretty much the same for this year. And the process of getting from where we are right now to actually when the new classrooms open, and who knows what that'll look like, whether it's virtual or not, is going to be February. So we want to make sure the key people to advocate for to get your district on board is the superintendent and your school board members. If you can do that, that would be great. So what does that mean? It means talking to your superintendent saying, hey, I understand that our district is eligible, and I, as a parent and as a PTA member, or I as a parent, I want to see this come. And I happen to know I have lots of friends that feel the same way. Going to a school board meeting is critical, or participating virtually, I assume that's how most of them are going, is critical to make sure your school board members. Now that's the more formal way. Calling up, if you know school board members, say, hey, this list has come out. I'll forward it to you, and you'll have a link to that once it's final. we're on this list. What are we doing to make sure our kids benefit? That's what you can be doing right now. So that's, you learn that your district, whether or not it's on the list, you'll know that. Urge your districts to think outside the box. And you may have to say to them, look, in a lot of communities, those classrooms aren't in our public schools, because you know what we hear from so many districts? We don't have the room. Sorry. Nonsense. For 20 years, districts a lot bigger than the ones that are left have been implementing through what we call mixed delivery, Head Start, childcare. You say, no, we want this to come. The money is there. We want our kids to benefit. Let's think outside the box. And telling the governor we want this, telling your legislators, I want this in my community. Kathy talked about, you can be a voice for change. Now that's for those where the money, where districts are available. But what if you're not on the list? Well, that doesn't mean that you can't begin to advocate for this. It's just going to take a little longer. And that means talking about what are the benefits of preschool. As Kathy and Rose talked about, there's so much information out there why this is a good program for your kids, for your 3 and 4 year olds, and why should other communities have it and not you? So talking about why we need to do this, it's just how do we fund it? And that's the broader conversation. But having those same conversations, even if you're not on the list, talking to the superintendent, talking to your school board, talking to other parents, because you know what? Volume matters. There's power in numbers. The more that can come together in agreement that this is something you want to bring to your community, that's key. So taking the same steps, it'll just take a little longer, is a way to go forward. Okay. So I think that's it. Catherine, can you go to the next one? Okay, there's our questions, but let's go to our Q&A. I see that there are 2 questions. Are these funds only for district preschools, or can private providers apply as well? So the answer is that the way in which this system of funding works is that it goes through the district. And that's a great question, because what if you have a district that says, we just don't want to do this? Well, what we want to be able to show is that the demand is there, but right now the funding stream goes from the state to the district, and then the district works with, assuming they want to, with childcare and Head Start, and they have a contract. That's what it is. So that's the way. So providers cannot apply directly for the money. What they can be doing, just like the parents, we want the parents to do, is to advocate for not only applying for the funding, but applying by using a mixed delivery to maximize the number of 3 and 4 year olds who can benefit. And then there's another question about Newark. Was Newark included? Well, the good news about Newark was one of the original school districts that have been implementing high quality preschool since 1999. So for 21 years. So they're already implementing preschool, state funded preschool in Newark. Okay. Are there any other questions? And you know what, maybe could possibly folks put it in the chat.
I wanted to say we have a comment from Denise Boyer at Statewide Parent Advocacy Network. And Denise, your comment came to the panelists. I don't know if you want to unmute yourself, and if you can do that, could you do that and make your comment, or if I can just repeat it out to the group?
Maybe you can repeat it. I'm not sure if they can be folks can be
So Denise Boyer mentions that every school district in New Jersey is required to have a parent advisory council, and that SPAN's START project assists family in setting up parent advisory councils with their district. That you can go to spanadvocacy.org to contact them, or call I don't know if you want me to give the phone numbers, or I can, you know what I'll do is I'm going to drop this comment of hers into the chat for the entire group, including attendees. Is that okay? And then everyone will be able to see it. I just wanted to point that out.
Yes, Denise is saying, please send to everyone. So wonderful.
And I wanted to just say something that we didn't mention, that Melissa says, this came to everybody, that we need to advocate for pre-K expansion, and also important to remind programs to enroll and grow NJ Kids, which is New Jersey's quality rating and improvement system. So that was a comment I just wanted to say reiterate, we're with you, Melissa, 100%, and that's not something we mentioned, but we are always working with districts and programs to implement high quality standards as outlined in Grow NJ Kids, the New Jersey's quality rating and improvement system as well.
So if there are no other questions, I just would like to say thank you to all of you who participated, and please put on your advocacy hats. Right now, time is of the essence. Districts are deciding, once they get the letter saying that they're eligible, the district is eligible, they're going to be moving fast, and your advocacy is absolutely critical. It could change the minds, or it could be that your advocacy that pivots a district into applying for the funding. There's districts have to hear from families that they want this. And I can tell you that for so many thousands of families in our state, their kids are benefiting. And it's time, hopefully, for kids in your districts to benefit as well. So I'm going to leave it to Kathy and Rose to close up.
Yeah, actually, Cynthia, someone just commented if the list could be shared again. I know everyone's going to get the PowerPoint deck, but how do you know if your district qualifies? Is there anywhere else besides? Is there a list somewhere else that we can refer people to for those that qualify?
Yeah, so we're gonna send around the PowerPoint afterwards, as well as this webinar, and that will be it. And as soon as the formal list comes out from the Department of Education, we'll be happy to send it to those who participated in the webinar.
And I think typically ACNJ normally would post that list on their website as well once it's finalized. But as we said, this list is tentative. The Department of Education has not released or contacted their list and contacted just districts yet. We expect that will happen sometime soon. And that's when the list will be, the final list will be available to the public.
Right. And I would assume the PTA can put it on their website as well, the list?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So there'll be lots of ways to see if you're there.
I just want to say thank you for everyone for joining us. We know everyone's time is very precious, but this is such an important issue. And I just want to say a personal thanks to Cynthia, because she has been an advocate for this and really, really fighting for many years. And it's working in New Jersey. And we need to fight for our kids. We need to fight for families. And we need preschool. We need universal preschool quality programs in New Jersey. So hopefully, whatever help you need, when the slides come out, all our email addresses are on there. Just email any one of us, and we will definitely help you. We can help you at PTA with a campaign. We can help you with letter writing. We can help you with anything you need help for.
Cynthia, if I could just say, it seems, I know you did respond to the question about Newark, but it looks like the question's been re-asked, so I'm not sure if the person who asked the question has heard the response. Would you mind repeating?
Sure. So Newark was one of the original school districts that received funding to implement high quality preschool for 3 and 4 year olds more than 20 years ago. So they already have a state-funded preschool where every child in Newark is eligible to attend. And they have a mixed delivery system. So there are high-quality classrooms located in public schools, in the childcare community, as well as Head Start. So it already exists in Newark, and it's quite a comprehensive program. I'm not sure of the number, but thousands of kids are in that program. Great. Thank you, everyone. Have a great afternoon and get advocating. Thanks. Bye now.
Bye-bye.